I hope the screen is visible. The screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, fine. So today we'll be starting our next topic, which is so-called my last topic of this chapter, that is temperature dependence of the rate of a reaction. So let us give my heading: temperature dependence of the rate of a reaction. So it means the rate of a reaction in this topic we'll also study that rate of a reaction also depends on temperature. So far we have studied various aspects regarding the dependence of a rate of reaction on concentration. We have studied whatever we have studied regarding the order, the molecularity, the differential rate law, first order, second order, pseudo first order reactions, half life, period of first order, second order, integrated rate law, whatever we have all studied keeping in mind the dependence of the rate of a reaction on concentration. In this portion, we will study the dependence of a rate of reaction on its temperature. So this has got a very simple mathematical formula. So the dependence of the rate of reaction on temperature is given by something called Arrhenius equation, which is written as K, which is equal to A into E to the power EA upon RT. Now what is K? K is basically the reaction rate constant. What is EA? EA is called activation energy. What is R? R is the gas constant. And what is T? T is temperature in Kelvin. So my dependent on of the rate of reaction on temperature is given by this formula. K is equal to A into E to the power capital E suffix A by capital R into capital T. Now I will come in a matter of minutes what do you mean by activation energy. Before that, we should take a particular example. Let us take an example: H2 plus I2 gives 2HI. Both are in gaseous state. Now let us try to decode the mechanism behind this reaction. Let us do it. So of course we have all known that chemical bonding is basically breaking off old bonds and making of some new bonds. So I can assume this hydrogen as this, iodine as this, and when they are mixed together, I can assume that this bond is break. The bond in red is broken, and the bond in orange is formed between them. So this will basically have this structure, and this will be in red. The red indicates the bond that are being broken, and the orange indicates the bond that are being made. After that, what happens? This is the reaction intermediate. After that, we have Hi plus Hi, which gives us two molecules of hydrogen iodide. So this is what happened. This is what happens in any chemical reaction. So according to Arrhenius theory, he said when two reactant molecules react with each other. Now what do you mean react? If you see in the molecular level, if you let us take an example, you have a glass beaker where we have taken 10 balls of blue color. Let that be reactant A. Now you are adding 10 balls of red color. Let that be reactant B. And then you are closing the beaker and you are shaking it. So what basically happens between the molecules of A and B? the molecules of A have some collision with the molecules of B as well as molecules of A. So basically what happens is a process of collision between the reactant molecules. So according to Arania's theory, he said when reactants are kept together in a container in order for a reaction to happen, so the reactants molecule collide with each other. When the reactant molecules collide with each other, after a particular time period, they form a particular complex which is called reaction intermediate. Now, why it is called intermediate? Because it is formed exactly at the midway between the reactant and the product. And reaction intermediates are always unstable. They cannot be stored. They are formed from the reactants and they break down to form the product. So what does this reaction intermediate indicate? It indicates that old bonds are broken and new bonds are formed. And ultimately this reaction intermediate forms a new bond which is called my hydrogen iodide as per this example. Now this in order to form this reaction intermediate, this reactants need a particular energy. In order to form this reaction intermediate, reactants need a particular energy. And this reaction intermediate is also called as an activated complex. Hold a second, someone has joined. So this reaction intermediate is also sometimes called activated complex. Those who have joined late, I'm very sorry, I had to start because the class was at 5:45. I waited till 5:55 and then I have started. Try to understand, I'll be repeating this in a very short time. For the current scenario, take down these notes, and I'll be repeating it after I finish this portion. Then people who have joined late can clear these doubts and the remaining can clarify their doubts, or else just write these notes down and you can continue. This class will be recorded and it will be sent to you by tonight. So yes. Now this reaction intermediate is also called the activated complex, and the amount of energy needed by the reactants to form this activated complex is called activation energy. So let me repeat, according to Arrhenius, he said that whenever two reactants are kept enclosed in a container in order for a reaction to happen, these two reactants collide each other. And when reactants collide each other, they form a reaction intermediate which finally forms a product. Now, there is a particular amount of energy which is needed by the reactants in order to form this reacted intermediates. This reaction intermediate is also sometimes called the activation complex, and the amount of energy needed required by the reactants to form this activated complex is called the activation energy. Now, whenever I speak of the term activated complex, remember one thing: these are at a higher temperature than the reactant molecules, or they are at a higher energy than the reactant molecules. So by default, the activation complex have a higher potential energy excuse me, than the reactant. Now, if I represent this graphically, how can I write? Let us draw a graph where the y-axis indicates my potential energy. I can also write it as U, as according to the law of physics, and this I can write is as something called reaction coordinate, because I do not know what is to be placed in this y-axis or the x-axis. Now you can have a doubt, so what do you mean by reaction coordinate? Reaction coordinate basically is an independent variable which basically represents the profile for change of energy. For example, if my energy of the reactants and products are changed for a particular reaction, the profile which indicates, or the domain or the set of data that will indicate or that will justify us that the value of energy has changed, that is something called the reaction coordinate. So of course it is an independent variable. Now what we know, let us assume the initial potential energy for the reactants to be this. So I mark it as Kr, and this is a dash which I give to indicate my initial potential energy of the reactants. Now I always say my activation complex is at a higher potential energy than the reactants. So let us assume this is a position where I can keep my activation complex. So the total amount of energy which is needed by the reactant to go and achieve this position, this entire amount of energy is called activation energy. This entire amount of energy which is needed by the reactants to form the product, to form the activated complex, is called the activation energy. Now if I consider this value of the activation energy from the ground scale, matlab where my potential energy is zero. So if I assume my entire system to be at zero potential, and I have to take it to the value where my reactant form activated complex. So I should start measuring my value of the energy from the baseline. So this is basically called the threshold energy, which is the summation of activation energy plus the potential energy of the reactant as per this figure. So far so good. Give me a yes in the chat box. If so far it is clear for those who have been attending class from the beginning, if this is clear, give me a yes in the chat box. If this is no, give me a no in the chat box fast. Jigyasa, you are there, right?
Yes, sir.
Clear hai?
Sir.
Okay, and the remaining those who have joined late, is this portion clear? Is just this portion clear? ये कहां से आ रहा है, क्यों आ रहा है, मैं रिपीट कर दूंगा, but is just this portion clear, this graph? Cool. Now this is the portion where the reactants had form activated complex. Now what happens to the activated complex? Let me go back to the previous page. The activated complex next disintegrates to form the products. The activated complex next disintegrates to form the products. Now we know the products we get in a reaction are stable. जैसे हम लोग का रिएक्टेंट स्टेबल रहता है वैसे प्रोडक्ट भी स्टेबल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई do a synthesis reaction, or if I do a combination reaction between hydrogen and oxygen to form water, as in the same way as my hydrogen and oxygen is stable, similarly the same way my final product, that which is water, is stable. After water is formed, there is no thermodynamic change in the product. Similarly, when I take the reactant, when the reaction has not yet started, when I take the reactant, I cannot see any thermodynamic change in the reactant. So I can say them to be stable. Now, we also know from class 11 knowledge of thermodynamics that whenever we have a system which goes to a stable level, it is seen by a decrease of energy. So of course my potential energy of the products where the reaction will be terminating is supposed to be less than that of the energy of the activation complex. So let us take this to be the energy of the products. So what happens? This again decreases and comes to this level. So this is called EP. This is the potential energy of the products. Now you might have a doubt ki sir, is it mandatory that the value of EP is more than ER, or it can be the reverse way around, or are there any situation where these are equal? So I'll be coming to it in very short period of time. Before this, we have to understand theoretically something which is called effective collisions. Now let us think of these effective collisions as the entire school life period of you guys from class 1 to 12. So if I take 12 classes, So each one of you had made numerous friends in all these 12 classes. You have made in class 1, made friends in class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let us assume each one of you have made, you have not counted, but let us assume you made 100 friends in this total period of 12 years. Now this is a discussion I would really like to do with you. So kindly unmute your mic and one by one say me how many of these friendship do you expect to exist after 10 years? How many of these 100 friendships do you expect to exist after 10 years? You can write in the chat box any random number. If you think all the 100 friendships are going to exist, you can also write 100. No issues in that. But please give a value. कि तुम लोग शायद 12 साल में 100 दोस्त बनाए हो, 100, बट आज से 10 साल बाद तुमको क्या लगता है कितना दोस्त तुम्हारे साथ रहने वाला है? कैन यू प्लीज गिव मी अ नंबर? Whatever comes in your mind, 1, 2, 10, 5, 6, nothing sir, 0, 100 ke 100, write it down fast. Sudeshna Mantha said 2. Yeah, quite a practical reality, bro. But these two friends are the two friends that are going to stay with you for your life. Okay, next. Divyanshu? About 5 to 10. Jigyasa Das 0. Very practical, reality check. Divya Chaudhary 3 to 4. Swandaria 4. Livani 3. Well, so now let us define something called effective friendship. So can you see the percentage of the effective friendship that you yourself know? For Jigyasa it is 0%. Jigyasa from now she knows that none of the friends that I have made till this time will be lasting after 10 years, which is very practical. It happens in everyone's life. Divyanshu is lucky enough to write 5 to 10. I hope your prediction goes true. So if this is the case for a simple concept called friendship, the same thing is the case for any reaction. When I place two reactant molecules, they collide. There can be numerous collisions that happen between them, but only few of the collisions are successful in turning the reactants to products. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir.
There can be numerous collisions that happen between the reactants when they are placed together. But out of those numerous collisions, there are just a very handful of collisions which are really responsible of forming the reactant to the product. Right? Okay. Now, this number of collisions which are finally successful in bringing the reaction particles together and to form a product are called effective collisions. Now, if my reactant molecule takes this much amount of energy to go to an activated complex and वहां पर जाके अगर complete reaction ही नहीं हुआ तो it's a loss of energy, right? If for example like I am a class teacher of class 12, I from the very first day of class 12 I go on saying to you words like remain friends, build up unity, love each other, support each other when they are in need. When I'm giving this much of investment from my side, and if after 10 years I see only 2 or 3 friends remain, so it's a waste of my time. For this, let me redefine the concept again. So I can now define activation energy as the total amount of energy needed by the reactant molecule to reach to a stage where it can undergo effective collision and change to product. For example, you have 100 reactant molecules. मान लो when I am at a temperature of, suppose this is at 25 degrees centigrade. Let us assume I'm trying to give a random example so that it can be clear. When I am at 225 degrees centigrade, which is 200 degree more, Out of this 100, let us take 25 reactant molecules have changed to products, which means for 25 reactant molecules that have changed to products, this amount of energy is called activation energy. For the remaining 75, this is not activation energy. For remaining 75, मान लो if I continue heating this reaction at 325, another 50 reactant molecule will change the product. मतलब for the remaining, out of the remaining 75, for 50 of that particles, 325, 25 to 325, the amount of energy needed is the activation energy. What I am trying to say is, no reaction has a fixed value of activation energy. No reaction has a fixed value of activation energy. Activation energy is a value which varies from each and every individual reactant. So I can think of activation energy as like this: the total amount of energy which is needed in order to increase the energy of the reactant from its potential energy to the point where it undergoes effective collision. That is called the activation energy. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I hope the concept of activation energy is clear. I've tried to give some examples. I hope it is fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, like I said, it's chemical kinetics. So theoretical words would not help us. We have to jump to mathematics. Now, let's come to a mathematical interpretation of Arrhenius law. So what is Arrhenius equation? K is equal to A to the power minus EA by RT. Now, exponential graphs are very tough to read. Why? Um, I don't know whether you guys will be able to answer it. But okay, let me ask. How many of you can say what is the exact function of logarithm is? You have done differentiation, you have done ddx of lx, integration of dx by x, you have all done it. So how many of you can exactly say me what is the need of a logarithm? Anyone? Okay. So logarithm is basically needed in order to linearize any particular mathematical equation. For example, let us take a random expression that y is equal to x square plus 2x. Now this is not a straight line because it has a term x square involved. If I need to convert it to a linear equation, matlab if I need to convert this equation to a equation which resembles a straight line, you have the log operator. You take log on both sides, you will have log y is equal to 2 log x plus a constant. There are no x term involved. You take the x-axis as log x, you take the y-axis as log y. You have simple straight line equations. So why is it done? This is done because in straight line equations we have a constant value of slope. So predicting the value of a physical quantity after some particular time scale becomes easier for us. This is why, like, sorry for deviating, but मैं deviate हो रहा हूँ because these are the things that I think I should say as a teacher. This is why we try to linearize time scale. Whenever we think of about fictional facts like time machines and black holes, etc., remember time is not a straight line, but we treat time as a straight line so that we have equal intervals which is beneficial for our correction. Imagine if you have time intervals like Monday to Friday, 1 day is of 24 hours, Saturday, Sunday, 1 day is of 30 hours. Imagine how much confusing it would have been to calculate how much time you have and what is the total number of hours in a week. But in order to prevent this problem, we take a linear time scale जहां पर equal divisions होता है, but practically ये नहीं होता है. To come back to this topic, this is an exponential curve. In order to read it conveniently, we take log on both sides. So take natural logarithm on both sides. ln k is equal to ln a plus ln e to the power minus ea by rt. Now ln and e, they cancel each other. Okay, so in the next page I can write ln k is equal to ln a minus ea by rt. Now we cannot work with, okay, I'll come to this point later. So this is the equation, though it easily matches with the equation y is equal to mx plus c. Why I just said कि log is used to convert a curve equation or a non-linear equation to a linear equation. Look at this. It was an exponential equation. I have brought it to a linear equation where I can write it in the form of minus ea by r 1 by t plus ln a, where my y-axis will be ln k, my x-axis will be 1 by t. So let us plot it. This is 1 by t. This is ln k. It's a negative slope, so it's downwards. Very simple. And this is the y-intercept. It is called ln a. See, interpretation of graphs becomes so easy. So whenever in your future life, in your graduation courses, whenever you get any complex mathematical expressions and you need to draw a graph to solve it, blindly take log on both sides. And log calculations, trust me, are very easy. Log calculations are very easy. When I do the numericals, I will teach you using a log table. Log calculations are very easy. Now now we will study dependence of K on temperature. Let us take. So at time t is equal to T1, at time t is equal to T1, let temperature is temperature 1 and K is equal to K1. So put this in the value. We have ln K1 is equal to ln A minus EA by RT1. Similarly, at time t equal to T2, let my rate constant becomes K2 ln A minus EA by RT2. Mark this as equation 1. Mark this as equation 2. Now subtract 2 from 1 or subtract 1 from 2. Yeah, sorry. Subtract 1 from 2. So ln K2 minus ln K1 is equal to ln A cancels out, minus EA by RT2 minus of minus EA by RT1, which is equal to EA by R. I can take constant 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2, or this is ln K2 by K1, because we all know log of A minus log of B is equal to log of A by B. We know this. These are basic logarithm hypothesis. So ln K2 by K1 is equal to EA by R 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. So when temperature changes from T1 to T2, my rate constant changes from K1 to K2 and the relation can be found out by this equation. That is why this was our main motive. That is why I said this portion is dependence of rate constant on temperature. Now we cannot deal with natural logarithm. सीधा बात, because natural logarithm हम लोग log tables में नहीं निकल सकते and CBSE में calculator allow नहीं होता. So we have to go to decimal logarithm. So this entire reaction, this entire equation, let me rewrite it. ln K2 by K1, K2 by K1 is equal to EA by R 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. This entire thing can be written as log K2 by K1 is equal to EA by 2.303 R 1 by T1 minus 1 by T2. So this is the final expression. This is the final expression of the Arrhenius equation. Is it clear? एक बार yes no लिख दो, माइक म्यूट करके बोल दो. Is it clear? Did everyone got it? Thank you. Now, I mentioned that there obviously is a doubt in your dimags that energy of the product will be more or less than that of the reactant. So let me take two cases. This is just two diagrams. Bear some patience with me so that I can draw these diagrams. And let me mark it. This is ER, this is EB, this is a little bit fat. This is ER, this is EB, and in this case we have EP more than ER. In this case we have ER more than EP, and from this to this is activation energy EA, and from this to this is activation energy EA. Now, when this is for you to remember, when EP is greater than ER, okay, let me ask, okay, किसको पूछूं मैं? Let's go to the only boy in this class, Divyanshu.
Yes, sir.
क्लास 11 थर्मोडायनेमिक्स कुछ याद है?
सर 11th क्लास नहीं पढ़ेगा।
क्यों?
सर यहाँ पे कोई कोचिंग नहीं है इसके पास।
अच्छा,
बाहर नहीं जाते हैं।
अच्छा अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं। बाकी ऐसा कोई है जिसको 11 थर्मोडायनेमिक्स कुछ याद है? जिज्ञासा, दिव्या, सुदर्शना, anyway, so whenever my energy of the product is more than that of reactant, which also means when the enthalpy of product is more than enthalpy of reactant, it is an endothermic reaction and it is an exothermic reaction. So depending upon the type of reactions, my relative positions of the reactants and the products changes. And if there are reactions which are neither endothermic neither exothermic, in those cases my level of reactants and products are the same. So this is the last thing that is to be clarified, that the relative difference, the relative position between EP and ER is basically indicative of the type of reaction, and this is the amount of energy which is to be supplied in an endothermic reaction, and this is the amount of energy which is released in the exothermic reaction. ठीक है? So far clear? Now this is, we have completed 90% of this chapter. Let's go for the last portion. Okay. Before I go to the last portion, there is I discussed a concept called effective collisions. So we basically had a curiosity to know that whenever a reaction is happening, what is the number of effective collisions? So that is can be calculated as R is equal to ZAB e to the power minus Ka by RT. Now if you mix it with the reactant constant K is equal to A e to the power minus A by RT. See, the exponential portion is the constant, right? This is the rate constant, this is Z, this is A. Now what is A? A here is called Arrhenius factor. It is also called frequency factor. So A represents the frequency of effective collisions. कितना जल्दी ब कितना एक सेकंड में कितना effective collisions होता है. And ZAB indicates the collision frequency. तो दोनों का dimensions are not the same, but दोनों का properties are the same. This is when I represent the Arrhenius reaction in terms of rate, and this is when I represent the Arrhenius reaction in terms of rate constant. So this is a formula. Whenever you are asked to find the collision frequency, and if you given the rate of a reaction, go for this. And if you given the rate constant, then go for this. You cannot mix these two up. Please do not mix these two ups. The last portion is catalysis. The term catalysis basically indicates what is the role of a catalyst in chemical kinetics. Now we have learned that catalysts are chemical substances which are added to a chemical reaction in order to change the speed of a chemical reaction. Now when I say, let us take for an example, catalysts are of two types. We have positive catalyst, we have negative catalyst. And what does positive catalyst do? They speeds up reaction. What does negative catalyst do? They slows down reaction. So we have two types of catalyst. One are positive catalyst, one are negative catalyst. Now if I try to understand why does catalyst increases the speed of reaction, so there is something which is acting in behind. So what basically happens is, this is the ER, this is EP, and this is my activation energy which is needed. This is without catalyst. What does a positive catalyst does? It represents the graph to be like this. See, it does not hampers with the energy of the reactants, nor does it hamper with the energy of the products. What it does, it reduces the activation energy. So this is with positive catalyst. So positive catalyst reduces activation energy. Now when the value of the activation energy is decreased, the amount of time taken by the reactant to reach this value is far less than the amount of time taken to reach this value. So ये जो time होता है ये decrease होगा, ये जो time decrease होता है इसके लिए reaction speed increases. So this is what positive catalyst does. Similarly, what does negative catalyst does? You can always guess. It increases the activation energy. For example, this is a negative catalyst. It's a R. This is P. This is the activation energy. EA. And in with my negative catalyst, it basically goes up. Now my activation energy becomes this much. This is with negative catalyst. So I know it slows down a reaction. Why it will slow down? Because the reactants take a greater time to reach to this level as compared to this level. So this is how positive catalyst and negative catalyst work. So this is all of the chapter. Do you have any doubts? Do we have any doubts here?
No, sir.
अच्छा, anyone else? बाकी लोग? I've just
No, sir.
okay. Divyanshu, Jigyasa?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay. You have understood the concepts. The concepts are clear. You have understood the mathematics, the theory, the graphs. Everything have you understood? Yes or no in the chat, please. Okay. Now, let us solve. Now, in order to understand the chapter completely, it is very necessary we solve some numericals. Now, what are the numericals that are we going to solve? Of course, we'll be going to solve primary the in-text questions that are there in NCERT. So, if you have your NCERT book at hand, kindly take it out. If you have the NCERT question at hand, kindly take it out. And we will start from example 4.2 because example 4.1 is a problem that involves graphical problems. I'll explain later. So we'll basically start from example 4.2. So this is the problem. I hope the problem is visible to all. सब कोई देख पा रहे हो प्रॉब्लम?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So what does it say? It says that the decomposition of N2O5 in CCl4 in 318 Kelvin has been studied by monitoring the concentration of N2O5 in the solution. Initially, the concentration of N2O5 is 2.33 mole per liter, and after 184 minutes it is reduced to 2.08 mole per liter. The reaction takes place according to the equation 2N2O5 gaseous gives 4NO2 plus 4NO2 gaseous plus O2 gaseous. Calculate the average rate of this reaction in terms of hours, minutes and seconds. What is the rate of production of NO2 during this period? So, how can I do? First of all, my first step is write the reaction. सब कोई मेरे साथ लिखो. Write the reaction. 2N2O5 gives 4NO2 plus O2. Next, we will write rate is equal to minus half delta N2O5 by delta T is equal to plus 1 by 4 delta NO2 by delta T is equal to delta O2 by delta T. This is the rate of the reaction which you have studied first class. Now there is given the initial concentration is initial concentration is 2.33. So delta 0 N2O5 is equal to 2.33 mole per liter. Delta N2O5, sorry. Just write it N2O5 0. And this is N2O5 at time t is equal to 2.08 mole per liter. Check. Now what is rate? rate is equal to, normally तो minus बैठेगा, but you take the magnitude. Minus indicates that the reactant is decreasing. Basically it's a magnitude to half into difference, which is 2.33 minus 2.08. What is time? Time is 184 minutes. It is asked, you have to find in hours, minutes and second. So first we will do it 184 minute. So if you calculate it, how much it becomes? It becomes half into, this is, what is 2.33 minus 2.08 by 184? Karo. It is 0.25 by 184, right? अगर मैं मिनट पे करूँ तो this is mole liter inverse minute inverse, because I am doing it in minute now. So it is 0.125 by 184. 0.125 by 184. This is coming to be 6.79. If you calculate this, this is 6.79 into 10 to the power minus 4 minute mole per liter minute inverse. Now if I convert this to minute, so 184 minute is how many seconds? 184 into 60 seconds, and how many hours is equal to 184 by 60 hours, right? So if you need to like find in, this is per minute. If you need to find it per second, so you have to divide it by 60, which is 1.13 into 10 to the power minus 5 moles. And if you need this in hour, you have to multiply it into 60. This is 407. This is 4.07 into 10 to the power minus 2 mole liter inverse hour inverse. So this is how we can find out my average rate of reaction. Is it clear? यहाँ तक
Yes, sir.
सबका?
Yes, sir.
हेलो, हाँ बलजीत, मैं तुमको 10 मिनट बाद फोन करूँ? Now this has a second part. What is the second part? The second part is, what is the rate of production of NO2 during this period? So this is the rate of the reaction, right? So this portion is the rate of production of NO2. You have got the rate multiplied by 4. Whatever unit you may take, तुम लोग per second ले सकते हो, per hour ले सकते हो, per minute ले सकते हो, whatever you can. You have got the rate, right? Multiplied by 4. You will get the answer. Clear? ये हो जाएगा? ये हो जाएगा तो हेलो हेलो
Yes, sir.
हो जाएगा तो
Yes, sir.
बाकी लोग लीव क्यों
Yes,
कर
sir.
गए बाकी लोग लीव क्यों कर गए ठीक है नाउ सेकंड कैलकुलेट द ऑर्डर ऑफ दिस रिएक्शन वेरी सिंपल तुम लोग को पता है क्या करना है कोएफिशिएंट्स को प्लस करना है जल्दी कर दो दोनों रिएक्शन का रेट दिया है दोनों का रेट लॉ दिया है रिएक्टेंट का कंसंट्रेशन है उसके ऊपर कुछ कुछ पावर है दोज आर द कोएफिशिएंट्स उसको ऐड कर दो यू विल गेट द रेट ऑफ द रिएक्शन होगा तो डुएबल राइट
Sir, done.
सर डन दिव्यांशु कुमार डन सौंदर्य डन और जिज्ञासा यू आर रिमेनिंग डन गुड तो कैसा these are very simple like numericals that you can find in your NCERT so जैसे like I said earlier this chapter is completed you next have a class on Tuesday so Tuesday what I'll do you will get this video by tonight go through the video if you have any doubts you can text me up for an extra class tomorrow if you want or else Tuesday we'll have a brief revision of this chapter I'll give you some very short questions to solve then we will proceed to the numericals because we do not have enough time to prepare ourselves from the November exam so we will prepare one chapter at a time right so this will be the workflow Tuesday I'll be giving you a set of 15 questions you have to solve it and you have to like if there are many students then you have to DM me the solutions or else I'll be asking you one by one after that we'll be practicing sums is it fine hello
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay thank you that's all for today you can leave
Thank you, sir.
thank you huh না ভিডিও না হ্যাঁ কিছু না ঠিক ওকে হ্যাঁ 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 हाँ बलजीत बोलो। हाय। हाय हाय। हाँ 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 हाँ, वो कॉइन्स ना बहुत नॉमिनल प्राइस है, 250 में 125 ना 170 कॉइन्स आते हैं, बहुत नॉमिनल प्राइस है वो ना। हाँ